Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review for tonight's show. Thank you for tuning in. My name's Paul, and of course, I am joined by my sidekick, Billy Bob, for tonight. Alex is having the night off, of course, spending it with his lovely lady and getting things behind the scenes sorted for later shows. But as usual, if you do enjoy tonight's show, please do hit that thumbs up button. And of course, if you are new and you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button, free to do so. But don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload or a live show. You can become a member of the Toon Review if you do so wish by hitting that join button just underneath the two of us. And of course, you can super chat if you do feel kind enough to do so by the $sign at the bottom of the live comments, and that will get your comment guaranteed to be read out on the show. A lot to get through tonight, Billy. Good evening.
Good evening, and good evening to everyone out there. Lots of news today, hasn't there?
Yes, I mean, look, we didn't do a sort of morning news show because there wasn't much happening, if we're honest.
No.
However, it's sort of after lunch, everything picked up, and of course, the main announcement is the signing of Lloyd Kelly. He is now a Newcastle United player, and look, I'm pleased that they've announced it now and not taken sometimes in the past, Billy, we've seen where Newcastle have done medicals and then it's taken them like 4 or 5 days before they actually announce the player. But they've announced him today, and he looks jolly happy about it as well.
Yes, he does, and he looks a very well-rounded young man, doesn't he? I mean, I've watched the interview. I quite enjoyed the comparisons that Woodgate made about him as a Rolls Royce. We've already got one, now we've got two, but according to Jonathan Woodgate. And Jonathan Woodgate's a real voice of experience. I think he's probably the best centre I've seen play for Newcastle United.
Yes,
that's a fantastic comparison made by Jonathan Woodgate. Just seems a very mature young man, new father as well. I think that fits into the Eddie Howe family type atmosphere. I think he likes that. He likes his players to be settled. Yeah, it's just it's a great signing for us.
And of course, he's got the number 25 shirt by the looks of things, because why would he get photos with number 25 if that wasn't going to be his number? I'm delighted with the signing. The more I read up about him, the more I hear from Bournemouth fans who absolutely rave about him. And to be fair, they've been very good about him leaving the club. They haven't. Yeah. I've seen very little bitterness from the Bournemouth fans, apart from to say, good luck to the kid. He's done his time with us, and he's deserved to move to bigger and better things. No disrespect to Bournemouth, but that's what their own fans have been saying. So I think it's an excellent signing, and it gives us a little bit more stability at the back, Billy, because we know obviously we've got Botman out until probably Christmas time, if not January, and the same for Lascelles. Now, we are starting to fill those positions, and the media are reporting that we're in for a lot more players, which we'll come on to in a moment. But this is obviously the second signing, because everyone forgets that Lewis Hall is the first permanent deal of the summer. And now Lloyd Kelly coming in. So we are, 2 players in. We're starting to build. We've got rid of some of the dead wood. So it's what we've been looking for. And of course, the window opens officially tomorrow. So, it doesn't matter if the Euros are on. I think teams want to get business done early.
Yeah, I mean, his contract's doesn't end until July the 1st, but they've announced it because he wants to come. The signing's been made. It'll officially be ours on July the 1st, but it's all about strengthening the squad. And now the players that are coming in to be squad players are able to play as a first-team player. And Eddie Howe can have trust in whoever he brings off the bench or whoever he starts with. And that's something he's not really had. Even in the season we finished 4th, he was only able to make 3 substitutes that he really trusted, and that left us short-handed. And last season also, with all the injuries, he wasn't able to kind of rotate his squad as he would have liked. I think this season he will be able to with the signings that we made this summer.
Andy Ford was asking, has the Lewis Hall deal been formally confirmed? Yes, it was confirmed before the end of the season, to be honest, but that was all done and dusted very early. But, I mean, look, people have been worried about Lloyd Kelly's injury situation. I'm staying away from that, if I'm honest, because, if we look at next season and the squad depth that hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to have, that means that, Lloyd Kelly won't be playing every game, nor will Dan Burn, nor will Fabian Schär. They're each going to get opportunities to have a little bit of a break. We can rotate. But what we can do as well is we can rotate and still take the Cubs very seriously. Andy K, thank you for your super chat. Evening, guys. I've managed to get the wife watching too. Excited to see Kelly play. Well, good evening to Mrs. Andy K, and hope you're enjoying the show as well. Yeah, so, I think the excitement is already starting to build here, Bill.
Well, of course it is. We haven't got European football as a distraction this year, so there's less games anyway. We can rotate. Of course, the more rest the player gets during the season, the less chance there is of him having injuries. It was all last season with the amount of games that they played and no rotation, and the amount of injuries we had. It was a kind of catch-22. You don't play on, you're weakened. If you do play on, they get injured. So this season, I think Eddie Howe can have no excuses this season, I don't think. I don't think he can have an injury as an excuse this season, because he'll have a proper squad to kind of deal with them if we do get them. So it's all on Eddie Howe next season. If he can really prove his point and get us up the table next season.
And that's what I'm excited about, Billy, because, there was a lot of pressure on Eddie Howe. You snapped with him once last season, remember?
Yeah, I did.
And he's had a lot of pressure from a lot of fans. He's had criticism from myself, from Stato, from a lot of other Newcastle United fans. But I must reiterate, he's not beyond criticism. But next season, I'm excited to see what he does with these players. I'm excited to see how well Lewis Hall comes on again. Livramento takes that next step. Lloyd Kelly comes in and working under Eddie. And I think it's absolutely superb. I'm just really, really excited about it. Agent Tech Streams, thank you, by the way. He's trying to sort the intro out for us, by the way. So thank you. I'll have a look at that after the show, matey. But obviously, I know it's not the finished article yet. But thank you very much for that. 80s Gamer says Madueke would be an awesome for us, a very underrated player. Christina's got a membership from someone, so she's saying thank you for that. Graham says, evening all. Hope everyone is well. It's great about Lloyd Kelly. Can't wait to see him play. Has anyone had any delays on the shirt? I've seen a couple of people had emails that it's slightly delayed, but not that many. Certainly not to Castor delays. I mean, look, I ordered the away shirt and I still haven't got the bloody thing. So it's going to take. Listen, it's 100 million times better than what it was under Castor. So you will get it, and you will get it pretty soon. Don't worry that you won't get the shirt. Now, obviously, there is other transfer news going on apart from Lloyd Kelly. Are you still with us, Billy?
I am indeed. I'm now back.
All right.
Every delivered to the door.
All right. Okay. Lasfer says squad depth means we can play with some intensity as the previous season. Foxy, good evening to you. Might be in the minority here, but I like the Madueke link. Right wing, English, good age, and type of player. How will improve. Only negative, I don't want us giving Chelsea money. Loan with option to buy. Look, we'll take a look at this right wing side, Billy, because it was heavily reported this afternoon that Newcastle United have made contact with Crystal Palace regarding Michael Olise. Now, many people have already, poo-pooed this and said, oh, we'll not get him. We can't afford his wages and all of this kind of stuff. But what I will say to that, Billy, is how do you know? Look, Newcastle United right now are trying to build, okay? The owners and everybody else involved with Newcastle United will know that at some point we are going to have to break the wage structure if we are to be an elite football club. We are going to have to pay the big money for the big players. Now, Olise, obviously, is linked with Chelsea. Who bloody isn't linked with Chelsea these days? But Olise himself, if he has a look at it and think, well, Chelsea, huge squad there. How many games is he going to get at Chelsea compared to if he came to Newcastle United? He would be a mainstay of that first 11. He'd be one of the most important players in that first 11. I don't think he would be at Chelsea. The Man United links have gone cold because, we were talking before the show. I don't think there's anywhere near enough money from Manchester United side of things to bring Olise in. So wage-wise, they could work something out, whether it be a big signing on fee, bonuses, as well as his salary. So things can be done like that.
Well, Chelsea played Cole Palmer on the right most last season. So, with Nkunku coming back into the squad as well, fitness there now. He'll probably play in the 10. So when's he going to play? He's certainly not going to get the games that he'll get at Newcastle United, where he will be a star signing and will be idolised as such, really. He's a young lad who's lots of potential, massive high ceiling, just what we need, the position we need it for. Yeah, I think it's a a big move for him. Of course, it's to leave London, come to Newcastle United. But I think football-wise, it's a better one for him. If we just kind of get the wages to match what Chelsea offer him, which I don't think we can, but that may not be the be-all and end-all of it.
Mark, of course, who is a Bournemouth fan, he says, good evening from the South Coast. You will not be disappointed with Kelly. I said he would sign for the Toon. You've just reiterated what a lot of Bournemouth fans have already said about how much they'll miss him, and good luck to him. Alexander Allard, thank you for your super chat, mate. New season, new medical staff, lots of potential. Indeed. We are going to get Alexander on, of course, to talk about injuries and things like that and how it all works and how we get players back and fit again. Nearly 1,200 watching already. Thank you very much. 11 minutes in. That's incredible. Please do subscribe if you are new to the channel, by the way. Lee Francis says, if we get Trafford to see him improve and get better, will also be a great plus too. Well, that's still in the cooking pot, so to speak, Billy, for Trafford. But if we look at this right-hand side again, somebody put something up on social media earlier on today, and it just basically highlighted if Olise did come in, we'd have a midfield of Joe Linton, Tonali, and Bruno, and up front, Gordon, Isak, and Olise. I mean, if that doesn't whet the appetite, nothing will. Now, I'm not sitting here for 1 second saying we're going to get Olise, because I know that Madueke has been linked as well. There is, some people have mentioned his attitude hasn't been too grand at Chelsea. However, I'm sure Newcastle will do the due diligence on him and make sure that we do get a player who has the right attitude and wants to work for Eddie Howe. So if Olise isn't an option, then Madueke certainly looks like he is. So we are out there, Billy. We are putting the feelers out. We are contacting clubs. It's not like we're sitting on our hands here and doing nothing. They by the looks of things, they're wanting to get these crucial positions done and done quickly.
Well, if Chelsea do sign Olise, that pushes Noni Madueke right down the picking order, doesn't it? I think he'd be a good signing for us. I like Noni Madueke. He's a good player, an excellent player. Another one from that England 21 European Championship winners who's played with Gordon, obviously with Trafford, knows Gordon well. He'd be a good signing for us. He really would.
Yep.
So I wouldn't be too upset with that. I tend to agree with the person that said Nico Williams would be a better option than Olise, much quicker, cheaper. And I think Nico Williams has been outstanding for us. That's the one I'd be going for if I had the choice.
Yeah, I mean, 80s Gamer says Olise will want Man United, you see. Well, yes, but they can't afford him. I mean, if you look at what Man United are doing at the minute, it's all come out in the wash here. They tried to get a new manager in. They couldn't afford what the managers were asking for. They also apparently told the new managers that they didn't have a transfer budget. They'd have to work to a very, very strict budget at Manchester United. And then they've turned around and given and offered Newcastle a pittance of £3 million for Dan Ashworth. It's not all great at Manchester United. And I think, a lot of Man United fans are in denial. Quite honestly, they're in denial about everything going on at that football club right now. They are in a lot of crap. Let's be honest, a lot of crap. And nobody at Manchester United from the supporters are going to say that. And Michael Olise, they have not got the funds. And that's why they haven't gone for him already. If they had the funds and Michael Olise was interested, then the deal would have been done, ready to go for tomorrow for the window opening.
Well, before Ratcliffe bought them, or bought the football side of it, Erik ten Hag was like their fourth choice manager. Since he took over, he's approached 3 or 4 managers. So we hear, social media says so. Tuchel has turned it down. Other managers have turned it down precisely because they weren't offering enough wages to them and weren't offering a transfer war chest to kind of get Manchester United into the area where they think they should be. So that's why they're being turned down by all managers. All and sundry turned them down. They've then had to go cap in hand back to Ten Hag, and he's got a bit of power there now. But unfortunately, he has no money to spend.
Yeah, but the Zig makes a good point. If they couldn't afford to get a director of football or a player in, they can't afford to sack Ten Hag. Because he would have been expecting quite a nice little payoff had he lost his job. So they would have had to pay him off as well as everything else. And it's just the Man United fans think they can just click the fingers and everybody bows to them. It doesn't work like that anymore.
It's not really just that. They've extended his contract. They've extended it.
Yeah, I know. It's mental. I mean, look, Ten Hag's going to stay there because he wants to work through the project. I've heard a lot of people say that, the way he's been treated, he should have walked. But, maybe he wants that job. He wants to prove to people that he can do the job. So Ten Hag it's his own right to stay. He doesn't have to walk. And if Man United want to push him out, then they pay for him. Simple as that. Which is they can't afford to do. Keith Truscott, thank you for your super chat, buddy. Read today that Minte is maybe going to be sold 40 million, apparently. Said that Eddie considering this as he won't have to sell the original guys, basically keep Miggy and Longstaff, etc. Well, that was a while ago, Keith, to be honest. The rumours about Minte have died down. It was originally 40 million quid. It dropped to 25. And then Liverpool said they weren't interested in signing him. So I don't think Minte is going anywhere until Eddie sees him in pre-season. I think, because we could have an absolute worldie on our hands here. We've seen him score for his country a couple of times in the last week or so. He's on fire right now. And, he could come in pre-season and just completely just change everybody's mind about the situation on the right-hand side. Listen, if we do bring Olise or Madueke into the club, then to have Minte as, somebody else who can step in, then you've got Murphy in the equation as well. Miggy's not going to stay. Miggy is down the pecking order straight away because I'm telling you now, if someone like Olise, Madueke, Minte on the right-hand side, there's no room for Miggy anymore. And if he's not, bright enough to see that, then more fool him. People know how I feel about Miguel Almiron. I think he's done his time at Newcastle United, but we have to take now to the next level to be amongst the top four. If we want to fight for Champions League or championships and cups every season, we need better players than Almiron. We really do. Keith, thank you for another super chat. He says, totally agree with you, mate. Thank God for that. Miggy's agent is talking more than the player, isn't he? Because these right-wing rumours are going left, right and centre. But Miggy's agent is still adamant that he wants to stay at Newcastle.
He may want to, but if he's like fourth choice for that slot, surely he's not going to stay and just take the money. There are players like that, but I wouldn't think Miguel wants one of them, if I'm perfectly honest. Of course, he's at the Copa America with Paraguay, so there'll be nothing from Miggy about the Newcastle situation, but I'll be amazed if he's still in the season. I'll be amazed.
Niall says, I've seen Keith Downey say that Kelly will probably play left back more than Hall, as his defending is not as good. So it shows that Hall and Minte were Ashworth signings as they would be prepared to. Well, look, with respect to Keith, he's a Northeast correspondent. I don't think he's seen Kelly play as much as, maybe he spoke to his colleagues down there, but I don't think Kelly's coming in as a left back at all. I think Lewis Hall is the starting left back for next season. I'd be astounded if Lloyd Kelly started there. Kelly is his main position, as we've seen on his stats, is a centre back. Listen, there might be occasions where he rotates them. He could play Kelly at left back because he's got that option. And what Lloyd Kelly has that Dan Burn didn't have, Billy, is pace.
100%. He's very quick, very strong also. But I will say that there's no way on God's earth Eddie Howe's told that to Keith Downey. That's probably Keith Downey's opinion on the matter. I disagree with that 100%. I think he may play left back at times, like you just alluded to. I also think he'll play centre half at times, and he'll also be rested at times. It's a perfect situation for us, even with the injuries we've got. When Botman comes back, it's an even bigger kind of good thing for Eddie Howe, isn't it? Because Dan Bird probably be sat on the bench all the time then, because I think Kelly and Botman will be the two that rotate.
Yeah. Paul says there that Olise is another injury-prone player. What's going on? Look, I think what we have to do with these injury situations is just put it on the back burner, because if you look at Olise playing at Crystal Palace, they don't have a massive squad. And they have a selection of top players which they need in the starting 11. With Newcastle United moving forward, by the looks of what they're trying to build here, they are going to try and build a big squad so that the players don't have to exert themselves all the time. He can rotate the squad. And we haven't had that. The injury situation ruined that for us last season. This time around, they're not going to play the same amount of games. So, we have to put that on the back burner and trust that these guys know what they're doing when they're targeting players. They will be aware of the injury problems that they've had. Of course they will. But, we are seeing, and we've heard, that Newcastle United are completely revamping the medical department over the summer. Let's just see. Look, I would not complain if we signed Olise thinking, oh, look at his injuries. This guy's a star. He is a star in the make. He's still not 100% the ready-made player.
No, he isn't.
But what a manager to bring him on in Eddie Howe, though. I mean, let's be honest. He's got the talent to bring these players on. Toon LA Oldguard said, if Eddie Howe brought Kelly, he definitely knows how to get the best out of him. Good business for a free agent. And exactly, Billy, he's cost us nothing.
Well, he knows him as well. He signed him at Bournemouth.
Yeah.
So he's, they're both aware of each other. Lloyd Kelly kind of said how much he admired Eddie Howe and how he feels about him. So it's going to be easy settle for him. He's going to jump straight in. He knows players at the club already. So it's going to be a nice settling period for him, which sometimes doesn't happen. And that should get him right for pre-season and getting his fitness up to the levels that Eddie Howe expects. Of course, he'll know what Eddie Howe expects fitness-wise. So it's not going to come as a shock to him, is it?
Hi, it's me. Says, if no Dan Ashworth, who's doing all the work? Well, I think Nixon will be doing a lot of it, Billy.
Yeah, I think he is, yeah.
But he'll be working closely. Look, they'll all be working closely. Nobody's going to tell me that Eddie Howe, even if he goes abroad on holiday, he hasn't got his phone with him because, we know Eddie Howe, the way he works. He will not take any time off. This is why his wife deserves a medal the size of a frying pan, because he will, even on holiday. He said it. He said it in interviews. He never stops. So he'll be
in a hotel somewhere in Berlin with his wife, and I'm just popping out for a couple of hours, love, and he'll be at the European Championships.
It's just the man has he puts his all into it. And look, I think at the moment, dare I say it, there's three probable right-hand side players, and I'm not including Minty in this because Minty is one of us at the minute. But if you look at the three that I think Newcastle will probably be targeting this summer, Olise has been, obviously, we've made an approach for him or contact to discuss the possibility. We've done that with, who was the other one I was thinking of there? Madueke. He is now in the mix. And another guy I think has been in the mix, and he's certainly in and out of the mix, is Gibbs White at Nottingham Forest, Billy. A lot of people, not happy with that one. But listen, Gibbs White is a step up from what we've got.
He is. But I think the reason why people are kind of putting their nose up at it because he isn't a natural right-sided forward. He's a 10. A bit like Miggy, but obviously he's better than Miggy. A much better player. Miggy, much more creative, much more two-footed. Maybe not got the pace of him, but he's definitely more creative. Of the three, I would say that he would be I like Mick Gibbs. I think he's a fantastic player, but unfortunately, we don't really play to his strengths in a formation that suits his style. So he'd be my least out of the three, if I'm perfectly honest. At least he'd be top, and Madueke could be second.
Well, I think that the main three for me, Billy, is the two that have been.
And you've got Ferran Torres as well. Ferran Torres, another one.
I mean that hasn't gone away. That is that's been mentioned quite a few times. And I think for 15 million quid plus 5, I think it's been banded around the 15 million pound plus 5 in add-ons. I think that's an incredible signing. He's not going to come in as the number one striker either because Isak's there. We know that. But what a guy to have. And if Callum Wilson does stay, I doubt he will, by the way, but if he does stay, I'm happy to go into the season with those three strikers.
100%.
And the chances that will be created by our wingers if we get a Madueke or Olise, plus on the other side, of course, Gordon and Barnes. And I'm not putting Barnes up in the same bracket as Gordon. I think Barnes has still got a lot to prove, by the way. But God, it's exciting.
But Barnes should still be a very, very good replacement for Anthony Gordon if we need to rotate. And if we can rotate Isak and play whoever we sign as the number 2 striker or Wilson, if that be the case, and then we have, 2 players for each position, we're going to do really well next season. And I keep saying top 4 isn't definitely not beyond the realms of possibility. And I said the other day, if we get all the signings we want in, it could be even higher than that. So I'm looking forward to next season. Really looking forward to it. This European football, this Conference League, not being in it, could be a massive godsend to us. As long
the
as
excitement's building already, and I know we get carried away, don't we? We get carried away, as we follow, a channel that follows Newcastle United fan base gets carried away. But why not? We've had so much shite over the years. Why can we? Who said we're not allowed to get a bit carried away and a bit excited about what could happen? just to be in the same conversation as putting, going in for the likes of Olise, Madueke, Ferran Torres, just to be in that conversation is a hell of a step. And that's what I'm talking about being excited about it, because we're in the conversation. We may not get any of them. We may not sign any of them, but at the same time, we are massively linked in the press with these players. And that hasn't happened for such a long, long time. We know that Newcastle United, the management, the hierarchy, everybody, us as fans, we all learned a lot last season. A hell of a lot. It was such a roller coaster season. But I just think that Newcastle United are ready now to take that next step. And we don't know what the funds are. Nobody does. We don't know how much revenue is coming in this summer. It's going to be a lot bigger than it was, because you've got the Champions League money, you've got Adidas, you've got Seller, you've got Noon, you've got all of these companies now getting on board. The hat manufacturer, the caps and all that. It's crazy to think that so many now huge companies are linked with Newcastle United and are pushing us forward.
If we're putting in £60 million bids, which is release clause for Olise, if we're offering £60 million release clause for Olise, it means one of two things. One is we have a lot more money than people think we've got. The second one I don't want to talk about because it's a bit negative.
No, I know what you're talking about. Absolutely, 100%. A certain number 39. Alexander Allard, thank you for another super chat. Copper America has young talent to look at as well. I'm sure we'll have scouts there. We'll have scouts at all the tournaments, even the youth ones over the summer. They'll just be jumping on planes and going all over the world this summer. I guarantee that. Chris Lynch, thank you for your super chat. Do we know what is in the transfer pot? No. And quite frankly, I don't pay any attention to any of the journalists that say we've got so much to spend, because they don't know either. There's no leaks coming out of Newcastle United, because if somebody went out and told a journalist, or I've been in a meeting where we've got such and such, they'd be fired. It's not worth their job. They can do what we can do, and that is speculate, just purely speculate. But my speculation is we've got a bit more than what some of the journalists are coming out with and saying. I generally do that. Now,
it's
obviously,
press, isn't it? They want to spread negative press about Newcastle United because we're in a positive place. They really don't want that top six, big six, cartel 4, whatever you want to call them, to be displaced. They really don't want that. They really don't. And so, any given chance they get to kind of talk down Newcastle United, they're there. They're there straight away. And this kind of transfer fee pot thing is another example of that for me.
Yeah. Paul, I was just wondering, but will TTR be doing a fantasy football? Not next season, we won't. We just ain't got the time, guys. I mean, we tried to start a fantasy football league and then do a show on it every now and again, but there's just so much goes on, putting together live shows, recordings, and all the stuff that goes on in the background that you guys don't see. There just isn't time. By all means, the viewers of the TTR can, by all means, start your own, and we might join. But and secondly, I have an awful record in fantasy football where I can't get out of the bottom 7 out of about 9,000 people. So it's very exciting at the start of the season when you do your fantasy football and you think, oh yeah, look at the team I've put together. They're going to be flying. And then you're bottom of the league after like 6 games, and you think, well, hang on, I've got some of the best players in the Premier League there. and Billy, we did it a couple of years ago, and you made the quote your very self that you were an expert on fantasy football and you would help the viewers in any way you could.
I did.
Yes, by staying bottom of the league and holding everybody up. Incredible. But there's just not time, guys. There's just not time at the minute.
That the first one I ever did was the World Cup 94 team. And by the end of it, I had a dead bloke in it and a bloke who was charged for drugs offences.
Yeah, well, there you go. Now, I mean, look, we've got nearly 1,600 people watching tonight, so I do apologise if I don't get through all of you. It's literally impossible to go through all of your comments, but that's what this whole family is about. You have conversations in the live chat with other people as well, not just us. So keep the comments coming in, guys. I do thank you all for getting your views across, and everybody. Oh, get lost, Alex. Honestly, this man, sometimes he's got a night off, but he's still peering in, isn't he, with his big flappy ears. Paul, if you say Madawake wrong one more time, I'll buy you a Mackham shirt for Christmas. You've made me stop the kitchen DIY.
Madawake. That's how you say it. Madawake.
Who gives an honest toss? There's only Alex because he's, the Queen's English. You're not allowed to say that. You know what I mean? Get lost. Get back to your DIY. Gillian Watson's gifted a Toon Review membership as well. Thank you very much, Gillian. Very, very kind. Corey Hines, thank you for your super chat. Doing great work, guys. Thank you so much. Like I say, I can't go through every comment, otherwise there wouldn't be a show. But that's why we like everything going in the chat, because you talk amongst yourselves as well. It's a family, Billy. That's what it's all about.
Of course it is. Community, isn't it?
Exactly. Now, one thing I want to touch on here, Billy, and this really pissed me off regarding a certain goalkeeper who has made comments while he's away with his international side, but happens to still be employed by Newcastle United, and that is Mr. Dubravka, Billy.
I'm unaware. Enlighten me.
You're unaware?
Mm.
Wow. Okay. Well, Mr. Dubravka, hang on. I'm just going to get the exact what he said here, because it's you'll love this, Billy. You'll love it. I mean, he's just a grade A twat. That's all I can say at the minute. Just let me find this. Come on. I'll find it in a minute. Talk among yourselves, guys. It is here somewhere. Well, I mean, I can't find it at the minute, but basically, he's basically said that he couldn't give a toss about the transfer speculation about him. He doesn't really care what's going on at Newcastle United at the minute. He's just totally, poo-pooed the club, which has only gone and angered more people. He's just. We said this the other day, when they go on international duty, sometimes they forget where they're still employed by. And I feel like this has been the same again from Dubravka today. He's just writing himself off, basically.
Well, I think the way he played last season kind of showed that he didn't give a toss about Newcastle United. It was bloody awful. He's the major reason why we're not in European football next season. He really is. So I think if Nick Pope had stayed fit and Dubravka didn't come in the side, we'd have been top four. So, yeah, we've all been saying, look, Martin, off your trot. Don't let the door at the arse on the way out.
Yeah, the thing is, hang on, Tom's put a link up to the Chronicle. I wonder if that's what he said. Yeah. I don't care anymore. Martin Dubravka hits out over Newcastle United future with exit admission. Let's have a look at his quote. Now, of course, he's 35-year-old now, but this is following on that reports this morning said that James Trafford could be a signing within the next week. Apparently, personal terms have been agreed, so we'll wait and see what happens with that one. But Dubravka was asked to comment on what the links with James Trafford and how he felt. And he said, it's hard for me to comment on that because I get information from the newspaper who we are signing. If I'm honest, I don't care what happens anymore. I defended my place and did my best for the club. If they decide to bring someone else, I won't influence it anymore. This is going on aside at the moment. I'm trying to concentrate on the national team. I'll leave the rest out of my head. He then went on to say that I would not like to comment on the Celtic stuff at the moment because I'm mentally set for the national team. However, I am aware of various noises. Teammates do ask me about it. Agents call me. Yes, there is some truth to that. There was something true about last year as well. But you see, I stayed at Newcastle United. If there's Well, exactly. If there's no official offer on the table, I don't deal with it. That's how I look at it. That's how I took it, even when I was still in Sparta. At the moment, everything is only the noise stage. Now, to be fair, Billy, I'm pretty pissed off with him. I mean, saying I don't care anymore, which basically means that he does not care. He really doesn't. I mean, he's 35. We need to get him out. I just think he could develop into a bad apple in that squad, which we don't want.
Yeah, 100%. I think he'd be a perfect fit for Celtic, given the Scottish League's history for awful goalkeepers. I think he'd be the ideal bloke there. And you think he'd like young Trafford, given his love of Old Trafford, so see you later.
Wow. Billy, I mean, that's well. Listen, I applaud you, Gary Clark. Thank you for your super chat. My view is never believe a press claim about transfers until the team announce it. They'll sell you a bridge if you let them. Exactly. Well, that's why we don't do that. We talk about what's linked in the media, Gary, but we never sit here and say, "Oh, such and such is definitely signing." Like we've already seen with the ITKs in the nose already before the window's even opened. Of course. People saying that Toon was a done deal. It was agreed. He was a Newcastle United player. And now they look stupid yet again. And yet, but they keep on doing it. So, yes, we can talk about what's written in the media by all means. And we can talk about rumors and all that kind of stuff. But we won't sit here as a channel and say and tell you guys out there that somebody has signed without the club saying so first. You know, and exactly what we've done today. Newcastle announced Lloyd Kelly. We'll do a show about it and obviously talk about other stuff as well. But no way. It's just, why would you want to make yourself look completely stupid? Lorraine says, bye-bye, Dubes. He said he didn't care anymore regarding Newcastle, his employees. Looney Tune says, we give him some time after going on loan to United and he repairs us by stabbing us in the back. I wouldn't say it's stabbing us in the back. I just think it's come to fruition exactly what this guy's all about. You know, I don't think he's got any right to come out and say this because the thing is, Billy, he comes out and says this. I could understand him if he had a brilliant season for us, but he was shit.
I just can't get over the fact that we were saying the words Dubravka and coming out and saying things, and you know, coming out just something he doesn't do. You know, he's a goalkeeper, how goalkeepers used to be, and doesn't come out, doesn't play football like goalkeepers are to do these days. And that's why he looks the dinosaur that he is. It's very similar to how managers like Pardew, Allardyce and Bruce look like dinosaurs in the modern game. And I think Dubravka's very much the same as a goalkeeper. Yeah. See you later.
Yeah. Claire says Dubes knows he's a goner trying to save face. I actually do think he's probably been told something.
He's got to save something. Fucking hell.
Well, yeah, save his face because he can't save a football. Gary, thank you for another super chat, Gary Clark. Exactly, Paul. That's why I love you guys. Thank you so much, matey. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, guys, if you're enjoying the show. Let's see how many we can get tonight. As I say, nearly 1,600 watching. Incredible from you guys again. Just shows how big this channel is getting, and that is thanks to you out there. Not us, you. So thank you very, very much. Much appreciated. If you are new, bottom right-hand corner, hit subscribe. If you're watching this on a rerun, do subscribe if you've just found the channel as well. Selling back to Man United, says Garant, because that loan spell went well for him.
They didn't want him, did they?
He won one game, didn't he?
He played 1 or 2 games for him. And the game I've seen him play, I think it was against Burnley in the Carabao Cup. Yeah. And he was absolutely...
He was terrible in that game, wasn't he?
Yeah. 2 goals or 1 goal. Just dreadful.
Absolutely. Dave says Dubes should never have been allowed back after his Man United behaviour. I agree. The one thing that pissed me off is that night that he was sitting at home watching Man United and he put that thing on Twitter, Billy, about, you know, something about his love for Man United or something. And that really did piss everybody off. I think that was the one that really wasn't forgotten.
Yeah, you know, I'm in a proper stadium with a proper club now. That kind of, you know, sneering his nose at Newcastle United. He was done from that moment on. And to be honest, his form has kind of gone the same way, hasn't it? Because before he went, he was all right. He made a few mistakes, all goalkeepers do. Since he came back, Christ almighty. Yeah,
no, he didn't establish any... I mean, the positivity in that back line, you could see every time the ball was played through the middle or played down the channels or over the top. Any long balls played in there, our defenders just did not know whether they were coming or going because they didn't know what the keeper was doing. Kieran, thank you for gifting 5 Toon Review memberships. That's very, very kind, my man. If you have been gifted one by Kieran, please do say thank you to Kieran in the chat. I know this isn't a Villa channel, but Aston Villa having to sell Douglas Luiz after qualification for the Champions League is horrendous. Meanwhile, Scumchester United are £1 billion in debt, but still get to spend. Well, they're not going to be spending. I can tell you that. It's very doubtful. I did see something today which made me laugh, that the Villa were looking at Isak, Billy, which I thought, well, hang on a minute. They're having to sell Douglas Luiz. Where on earth is the money coming from for Isak? Jesus Christ.
I think that was Villa Watch on one of his
Oh, one of his
Newcastle United,
yeah. Lawrence says Dubravka should be focused on Slovakia right now. Bit ridiculous for him to try and talk about his performances last season in a positive light. That's what I don't understand. I really don't. And if you're asking me honestly, I would have, if I'd have been Eddie Howe, I would have dropped him and I would have played Karius. But he didn't. He was very loyal to Dubravka. And I guess that's a sort of kick in the teeth to Eddie Howe as well, with Dubravka saying what he did, because Eddie had many chances to drop him last season, but stuck by him.
Yeah, he showed unwarranted loyalty, actually. I think it was a mistake to keep him in the side. 2 good games for me. One was against Blackburn in the Cup. Obviously, he was outstanding there. And against Liverpool at Anfield. But even then, he let 4 in. But, he could have been a lot worse if it wasn't for him. But the rest of them, just hesitant, no confidence in what he was doing, blaming other people, blaming the defence for his errors, that kind of thing. Just things you don't want to see. The defence had no confidence in him. He had no confidence in himself. And as a result, we finished 7th and didn't qualify for European football.
Marcus, good evening to you. Howay the Lads from DH8. My girlfriend is Slovak, and when I've been over there, Newcastle is always on the highlights. So at least Dubs has given us a spotlight in Slovakia and new fans. I can understand that, Marcus, but then when you go into a big tournament, you see the Dubravka's in goal after his performances last season, surely the Slovak fans are thinking, Jesus, we could be... Foxy reckons his comments have been twisted. He said he doesn't care about the rumours, not that he doesn't care about us. I don't think he cares about us, Foxy. If I'm openly honest, I get where you're coming from, but listen, he's made comments in the past, and I think he knows his time is up. I honestly think that he's been told, Billy, that his time's up. And certainly seeing Newcastle linked with goalkeepers, he's got to know. He's not a stupid man.
Yeah, I mean, and when it isn't until tomorrow, and I doubt if he'll be doing anything with the European Championships so on. As soon as they're finished, he's got a week off holiday. You'll probably see him out the door somewhere. Where that be, who knows? I don't think he'll be Premier League, though. I don't think he'll be Premier League.
No, well, he's 35. Nobody's going to take him on as number one now. I think he'll either go back to Slovakia or you play in the French league, or maybe the Eredivisie or somewhere like that. Christina says 1,600 watching is because of you two. You're the reason we are watching. Well, thank you very much, Christina. That's very, very kind. Peter says he's still baffled that Karius didn't get a chance even after Dubs had several very dodgy games.
It's worse than that, actually. It's worse than that because he actually cried off ill when we played Arsenal away. I mean, if you're going to miss a game and not look stupid, that's the game to miss. At the time, they were on absolute fire. As Peter Birdfield would know, he's a bit of an Arsenal sport, isn't he? Dubs cried off at the last minute and didn't play in it. Chickened out, in my opinion.
Yeah. David says Dubs is a professional footballer. Newcastle are not going to give him a salary for life. What is he meant to say when asked the question? Well, look, he could acknowledge his time at Newcastle and say, yeah, it's probably up. He knows it is. But to say that he's not bothered, I know it's probably taken as he's not bothered about the rumours. Fair enough. But it's the way he's sort of gone on about the club, that he's just got to go.
You've only got to look at past history. The minute we signed Nick Pope, what did Martin Dubravka do? Did he say, I'm going to fight for my place?
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. He was out the door as soon as he could. Went to Manchester United, where he praised them to the hilt and kind of snooches his ear at us, his nose at us.
I'm telling you, that tweet, Billy, that tweet when he was out, when he didn't play, and he had Man United on the telly, everybody can remember that tweet that he put out. And that really pissed Newcastle United fans off massively.
100%. But as soon as the going got tough, he pissed off. And it'll be the same this summer.
Of course he will. Geordie Rick, thank you for your super chat. There's no comment there, but thank you very much for your support again, my man. Anthony says, what's he going to say? I've been shite this season and it's time to go. All players will try and be positive. Not for us now, but good luck to him. Well, but he never talks about Newcastle in a positive light. That's the thing. The most positive he's talked about a football club this season is the one he was on loan at. Agent Texas, I'm still pissed at him because of Man United interview. Yeah, absolutely. And I think people need to realize that. It really has. It knocked a lot of Newcastle fans because, let's face it, it was bad enough him going to Old Trafford, but then coming back, and then after what he said on social media, and then I guess he did try and some Newcastle fans did start trusting in him again, but he was awful. He was shockingly bad. And we know that, I mean, Carrier should have come in. And I just think that Eddie's loyalty to him, and then he's not had a good word to say about Newcastle. I think that really does leave a stain for me. Martin says, I had a Scottish family stay in my Airbnb in Dover. They drove from Stirling and now on his way to Germany to watch the Euros with his 3 young daughters to watch Scotland. Dedication.
Good for him.
What about the guy that walked there as well? I mean, that takes some doing. Certainly, I mean, can you imagine?
Was it the McClaimers?
Well, I guess it was about, it'd be more than 500 mile, wouldn't it? Abs, good evening, says Eddie wouldn't have played him week in, week out of his attitude if his attitude wasn't right. This is all a bit slanderous.
His attitude may have been right, but his actual goalkeeper was absolutely piss poor, Abs.
Yeah, we're not talking about his attitude. It was his terrible performances that he needed to be dropped for. Why get bent out of shape over Dubs? Let him go flop somewhere else, and we're done with him. Because we're kind of like to sort of protect our club in a way. You know, he could have some decent things to say about Newcastle.
He could. And also, when he came to the club, he was fantastic for 2 or 3 seasons. Let's be honest. Let's not forget.
Well, nobody will forget the first game he played for us,
Absolutely
which is incidentally against Manchester United. He was outstanding.
But as soon as the manager wanted to do other things, more strings to his bow, he was found wanting. Simple as that.
Yep. Lee says, do you know how Maxi has been doing since he was sold? Is he in the French team for the Euros?
No.
Chippers, man. He's had more balls through his legs than Katie Price. Dear. He was bad. Niall says, how are we going to be if Miggy and Sean are still starting come next season? Well, Sean won't be an automatic starter next season. I think, when you've got players available like Joe Linton, hopefully Bruno, and of course Tonali coming back, there is no way, if you are playing the 4-3-3 that I guess Eddie will continue to play, there is no way that Sean Longstaff is a starter. Not a chance. And
he'll get game time. He will get game time.
He will get game time, yeah, but he's not. He's not.
He'll probably start the season because Tonali didn't come back the first 2 games, but he's not going to be a first choice for any sort of imagination.
Yeah, he will be a squad player. Miggy, let's. Let's just. Sean will be a starter next season, says Anthony, for his cricket team. Well, he's been playing well over the summer. It just amazes me though that again, I mean, that's got to ask questions that. His manager said, and Sean himself, that he's been injured all season, and then instead of resting up, he's playing cricket every week.
Well, it's a fast bowler as well, and if anything puts pressure on
an ankle, exactly,
it's fast bowling. Christ almighty, it's probably the most stress you get as a sportsman on your ankles.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It really is. But look, again, I think you've got probably Joe Willock fit again. Whether he's at the club next season, you've got Lewis Miley, who will hopefully be fit again. We've got talent in that midfield next season, and I don't think that's a position that really we're going to look at in the summer. I think there's more prior positions like striker, right wing. Certainly, a couple more defenders will probably come in the door and a goalkeeper. Elliot Parker, thank you for signing up the membership. Really appreciate that. Thank you for your support. Hi Paul, saw you at the Everton match a while ago. Kelly signing a great boost for the transfer window. Absolutely. I mean, that's what we said at the start, Billy. It just starts off the window in a nice way, and then a day before we're announcing another player's signed on a free, who is by all accounts a very, very talented footballer, and then we've got the window opening tomorrow, and we're linked with players like Olise.
It's fantastic, isn't it? I can't remember us having proper squad depth in every position. Even the entertainers didn't have that because, of course, Kevin Keegan had no reserve side. He's famous for scrapping the reserve side. Players that weren't playing and wanted away. So even then, we didn't have proper depth. And even under Bobby Robson, there were certain positions that we were lacking in for reserves. But now it looks like we'd have, good replacements for every position on the pitch, which is fantastic. And if we can maintain that throughout the season, then I think we're going to have a fantastic season. I really do.
Yeah, and that's why we do these shows, because it's fine to talk about it, and like I said earlier, being linked with these players is just to be in the conversation with all these other teams is absolutely brilliant. And I'll tell you something else, right? the amount of fans that I've seen laughing at the Kelly sign and saying, "Oh, you're supposed to be a massive club and you're signing Lloyd Kelly on a free transfer." That's quite pathetic, to be quite honest, because Lloyd Kelly was wanted by some very, very big football clubs across not just England, but Europe as well. Big boys, right?
Indeed.
So it's a massive coup for Newcastle United. They've convinced him to sign for Newcastle when there was some very, very big clubs interested in him, and he's forgotten about them. He's signed for us. So
Milan, Spurs,
exactly,
lots of big clubs. Can I just say, fantastic, we can see you posting. It's all right, mate. Your posts are coming out.
Yeah, they are. We can see everyone, matey. Don't worry. I think it's a YouTube issue where it's not shown that you've posted, but we can see it. YouTube's having a bit of a wobble again tonight, I think. But Wacky makes a good point. Kelly was a sensible signing. You're not going to be able to bring in every single signing who is an elite player. You just will not find that. But what we are doing here is we started the transfer window with a lot of positivity. A lot. Because we've got rid of some of the deadwood, like I said earlier on in the show, and now we're in a position where we've got, Hall in, we've got Kelly in, and now we're being spoken about with the big boys. And let other fans write us off. Let the pundits all write us off. Because at the end of the day, that'll do us all the favours in the world. Not expected to sign all these big players like Olise and etc. But we're in the mix, and you just never know, Billy. And again, the press and other fans of other clubs try and laugh at us. They're the ones that could end up with egg on the face when we do have an extremely strong squad next season.
Yeah, and I think that's what the aim is, to have a really strong squad to give Eddie some choice in what he plays and when he plays and who he plays, I should say. Kelly is a fantastic signing because he covers two positions. He's a fantastic left back. He's an even better centre half. So, that just gives us strength. One player covering two positions. Outstanding. It allows us to buy someone somewhere else because he costs nothing. Yeah, and I think the pundits, when push comes to shove, I think you'll see a few actually predicting Newcastle to have a good season next year. I really do.
Well, as long as Stuart Pearce doesn't.
No, I hope Stuart Pearce isn't.
That kind of went to shit, didn't it? Very, very early on, he predicted us to win the Premier League. But I guess that was with everybody fit, and of course Tonali not being suspended, because he made that right at the start of the season after we thumped Villa. And let's be honest, we've all said that if we had a fully fit squad last season, the likelihood is we'd have been in the top four this season. I think we've got that squad already good enough to do that. But the fact is now we're expanding that squad. We're bringing in squad players who are of a particular quality that, who are up there and not world class, not elite, but good footballers. And we're not relying on, 39-year-olds coming on Zimmer frames and stuff like that. We've got talent there for the bench next season. There will work on the academy as well. That, no doubt about that, because that is one side of it that maybe the thought was going to be better last season, Billy, than what it actually turned out to be, because we brought a lot of academy players in last season, but it didn't gel.
Yeah, I think the youngsters I brought in, I don't think you're going to see the fruits of them for another year or two. Even Alex Murphy, as good as he looked pre-season last year, we saw him in Australia and had a poor game against the All-Stars, didn't he? But I think in a year's time, he'll be ready to go as well. There's two or three others that we've bought, the Heffernans and people like that, a year or two down the line, they'll be 20 years of age, 21, ready to be kind of drafted in. And while we're doing that, of course, we started again with 16, 17-year-olds coming in the club. The lads, I think.
Well, we've got a 14-year-old Portsmouth player coming in.
Yeah, who's meant to be a real star.
Yeah.
So, as long as we can keep the production line coming through from the academy, it will save us a fortune in the long run. It really will. It's what Man City do. It's what all the big clubs in the world do. And I think we'll be doing it. Well, we are doing it. Just we haven't seen the fruits of it yet, because it hasn't happened for long enough yet. But we will see it.
And I think Wacky makes a good point here. Kelly will know what Eddie expects, and Eddie will know what Kelly can bring. Could be the best free signing of the summer. You know what it is? Exactly. He knows what Kelly is capable of, and he's brought him in for a particular reason. I mean, look, we've gone hard after Lloyd Kelly. It was obvious from once Kelly said he was leaving, Newcastle were immediately linked with him. So there was rumours coming out that we'd sent scouts to many Bournemouth games to watch him. So we have done with due diligence with him. There's no doubt about that. So Eddie will get the best out of this guy. And again, Kelly will give his all for Eddie Howe as well. He obviously wants to play for Eddie Howe. I know he's having problems with the chat, guys, but we can see your comments. I don't know why it's not shown on YouTube, but I can see all the comments coming through. So I do apologise about that, but it's it's not the Toon review. It's YouTube having a bit of a wobble. Sorry, Billy, you were going to say?
Well, he said, Eddie Howe was the one that took him from the Championship at Bristol City to Bournemouth. So he's already got an affection for him. He knows what Eddie Howe needs and wants from his players and expects from his players. So that's not, the players we've had coming before. It took a while to get selected into the side. Even Bruno took him a month or two to get a first choice selection. Lloyd Kelly won't need that because he knows Eddie Howe's work ethic. He knows how he plays. So he will settle in really quickly. And it's if you can do that, then you hit the ground running. And I think Lloyd Kelly will.
And he's not one of these players, Billy, like a Lewis Hall, that's going to come in and have to adjust, like Anthony Gordon as well, have to adjust to learn how Eddie plays because, Kelly's already done that. Kelly will start pre-season knowing exactly what Eddie Howe wants from him. And you can bet your bottom dollar Kelly will come into the pre-season fit as a fiddle because he knows what Eddie will demand. But, you've got to take a little bit of a wider angle with these kind of signings because, like I said, we're not going to sign every elite player going, but my God, we're in the mix. And Ferran Torres is an incredible signing if we get him. But again, we're in the conversation with some very good strikers. We were in the conversation regarding Šeško as well, but obviously he's extended his contract at Leipzig.
If we're getting announced, kind of linked with them and we're in the conversation about them, at some point we're going to hit one. The more lines you cast, the more chance you've got of catching a fish. And I think it's the same with these big transfers. At some point, we will snag one, and we will have a star through the door. Whether that be a right winger, another centre half, whatever. I think it will be a right winger. I think that's the position we need the most. So I think that's where the starlet comes in. The star signing in the summer is a right winger. We've already got a star at centre forward.
Do you think it's just one? Do you think though, Bill, in all honesty, that it's going to be one marquee signing, or do you think there'll be two?
No, I think it'll be one. I think the right wing will be the marquee sign. I think we'll sign a second or third choice striker, maybe Iheanacho from Leicester as on a free as a third choice striker. If Wilson leaves, then we may sign another one. But even then, I don't think it'll be a marquee signing. If we're going to sign another marquee signing, it might be a right-sided centre back, but we shall see. But I think definitely right winger will definitely be a marquee signing. Yeah,
even still, exciting times. Of course, the transfer window opens at midnight. And we have already got two players in. Obviously, Lewis Hall was already here. But Lloyd Kelly now signing. And I tell you what, it looks like we are really out to get everything done quickly, which is not something we've really done in the past. But I'm sure Eddie Howe is thinking that he wants his squad ready to go for pre-season. Maybe one more to come in and things like that if somebody became available that they couldn't say no to. But the mainstay of the squad, he wants there ready to go from day one in pre-season.
Yeah, we've seen it before, haven't we? With Livramento, he became available. We couldn't turn our nose up at it. We had to buy him, and we did. So if there's another player like that comes up, I think we'll buy him. We don't know what the finances are like. Nobody does. But the fact we're supposedly putting £60 million bids in for a right winger tells me we have more than what we think we got.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there you go. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching tonight's show. Massive crowd in tonight. Thank you for everyone that's took part in the chat as well. We really, really do appreciate it. Please, before you leave, if you haven't already done so, hit the thumbs up button just underneath. And that way it does push out the channel on YouTube to other fans like yourselves to find. Of course, if you are new, don't forget to subscribe. It is free to do so. And make sure you hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload or a live show. Thank you to all the super chatters and memberships and gifted memberships. Mods, you've been incredible tonight. Billy, thank you very much for your company. But as usual, it's you guys out there who make this channel what it is. We are so appreciative of you all coming in and taking part in the show in the live chat. Like I say, when there's a crowd in like this, very difficult to read every single comment. But obviously, everyone takes part through the chat with each other as well. So thank you very, very much for that. We will be back tomorrow. But in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening, folks. Take care.
Howay the lads and lasses.
Come back and check on to breathe.